Hello and welcome to Wrestling and Everything, Coast to Coast, with your host, Buddy Sotelo Esquire. Yes, I'm flying solo this evening, but not that I don't have two very important guests tonight. In fact, one of our all-time favorite guests that we've ever had on the show, and that is the very prolific and the guy who gets around, Solomon Chertok. And Solomon, you've brought us a really fantastic guest that I'm excited to meet tonight. And why don't you introduce him to our fans?
Well, I've known this guy for such a long time. I've done so many films with him, and we've got a brand new film, and it's going to be premiering in a couple of weeks. I like this man. He actually just became a father last year, so mazel tov. Give it up for Dave Decicco.
So you just became a father last year. Well, I just became a father 13 years ago. So
yeah, I'm a little behind.
So I find myself in the weird position of being able to dish out fatherly advice, even though a lot of times I'm wondering, like, who's going to parent me still through some of mine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I'm the parent. I'm actually the one responsible here. When did that happen? You'll go through that phase. Is a boy or a girl?
A boy. His name is Connor.
Okay. I had twins, so I really put under the gun.
You really jumped right into it, huh?
Yes. So is your son sleeping through the night?
Oh, yeah. Yep. He sleeps up to like 14 hours.
Wow. Well, count your blessings. Because my kids were up like 20. It was like having one baby that was up 20 hours a day. One would go to sleep, the other would wake up, and then they would just take off and be. One of them was always up at all hours. It was 2 years of a lot of extreme stuff, but eventually they get over that. So anyway, and thank you so much for being on the show tonight. So you're also out in New York right now? David, you're out in New York?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay. Coast to coast, that's what we like to say here. And even though we're primarily a wrestling-based program, we really do like to talk to people that have things that are involved in other areas. That's why we call it Wrestling and Everything, Coast to Coast. So tell us a little bit about what you do as an actor and how you got to meet Solomon. And Solomon, you two can sort of like tell your story together if you'd like.
How I got to meet Solomon. I was sleeping at my parents' house, woke up, opened the bedroom door, and there was Solomon. Yeah. It sounds creepy, but that's how I met him. My brother had cast and crew over for the short film that he was doing, and I got to talking to this nice guy over here, and he hooked me up with my first actor, and yeah, that's how the journey started.
Now, are you
normally? I did background before that, but he really kickstarted everything for me.
So, are you normally a professional actor, or do you have?
I am. I have a manager. Yeah. I've been on about 50 sets, had some speaking roles and stuff, yeah.
Wow, that's great. So are you, they're all indie films or that you've done?
No, television. I did 6 episodes of Quantico, Blue Bloods. I played a killer on a murder reenactment show called Deadly Devotion on the ID channel. I've done some live events, music videos. I did one with DJ Khaled and Jay-Z, and Busta Rhymes was also in there, and a bunch of other notable names.
Okay, and how did that first get started for you? How did you decide that you wanted to do acting for a career? Because it's very hard, obviously.
By finding out what I didn't want to do. And because, well, I mean, I was active duty military, was great, but I was like, this isn't for me. I'm very proud of it. I want to do something that I could be proud of, and the first thing that came to mind was military, because at the time I was struggling to decide what to do with my life. But then while in the military, I was reflecting, and I looked back, and before I went into the military is when I created Trevor, and I was looking at the success that I had and the enjoyment I got from that, and also just being bored at school and misbehaving, and you know, I realized that people found it to be entertaining. And then, like, really looking further back, when I was a really young kid, when I was like throwing a fit, my grandma would say, "Oh, you're acting like John Barrymore." So I figured why not give it a shot, and I was enamored by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters.
That's good.
1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja
We're a
Turtles.
very dog-friendly show. If you you don't have to
I'm
yell at
sorry.
your dog. Bring your dog on the show. We're a very dog-friendly.
Quick, we don't kill the dog off.
No, absolutely.
It's not John.
We're not going to serve him to a Haitian immigrant either. So
I'm sorry. I just let them out and brought them back in.
bring them up on the show. I love dogs. If your dog is
Nora, come here. Come here.
Hey, you should know Dave has worked
Lay down.
on 2 big productions
I'm
with
so sorry.
big legends, filmmakers, Steven Spielberg on The Post, and Martin Scorsese on The Irishman.
Oh wow! Okay, that was a really big movie. You know, I mean, it's a pretty legendary movie. Now, just because you haven't been on our show for a while, Solomon, why don't you remind fans who you are and what you've done and how you have gotten involved with David and all this stuff?
I'm an actor, director, filmmaker. I had my own film event called Sundays in the City March Movie Marathon from 2005 to 2008. And basically, I've, just been working right up there. I'm very close to where I want to be. And as far as Dave, I met him. I produced his brother's horror movie, Clive Unger's Madam X, which actually won at the film festivals for Best Actor at the Winter Film Awards in 2013. And it did very well in the horror circuit. But Dave, I met through his brother Brian, which I kind of equate them as the like Joel and Ethan Coen, the Coen brothers. But I met Dave through Brian, his brother, and our friendship grew from there. And then almost every other movie that I produced, I put Dave in it.
Solomon is a great voice actor, by the way. He won't tell you that, but I will.
Right. I was going to say, you totally skipped over the fact that you are what I consider the highest form of entertainment, a cartoon voice.
That's in it too. I do it all. I've done for voiceovers, for animation, and of course, Titus, which is the multi-award-winning action adventure. Season 1's on TitusVDM.com. And Dave was actually in one of the episodes that actually won an award. He voiced the role. And yes, Russell, we will get you on somehow on season 2. We just started it. It's good, though. Everybody is, unfortunately, with animation, it takes a long time. Because with the animation, putting it together, and we just started, we only recorded 1 episode so far from what's to be another long season. But everybody loved that first season. So my word to you, you will be in somehow. I have no idea.
That will be the bucket list item that I've dreamed of so much. But just quickly remind fans, because it's still out there and some people have not watched it. Remind the fans about Titus and how they could view Titus.
I don't know if you can see the cup here.
Chroma key is.
Yeah, here's the Titus cup here.
That's actually pretty cool.
Well, thank you. We have the merchandise on NTitusVDM.com. You can get coffee mugs, T-shirts, hats. And I'd like to thank Dave Decicco for spawning that movement with the merchandise. So if you want any of the merchandise, T-shirts, hats.
Remind our listeners what Titus was all about.
Oh, sure. It's about these basically these warriors throughout the years have been fighting these demons that have been trying to resurrect their master, which is Titus. And basically in the present time, I happen to be one of these like warriors that kind of like a Luke Skywalker character that's brought into the adventure to go after Titus, even though I'm sort of the everyman, my character, not knowing what the hell is going on and getting swept into the adventure. And, basically, to me, I think the season 1 is really such a wonderful origin story of the formation of this team of warriors that are going to combat these demons. So it's definitely, season 1 is online, NTitusVDM.com.
It's great. Yeah. It's great. It's really clever and extremely well written. And I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten a call from like Netflix or something. to like, you know, make it into a series?
Haven't yet, but there have been. I can't really say too much, but we've been getting out there. There's a possible maybe streamer that maybe season 1 could end up on. So slow. Yeah, that's the thing with animation. It takes time, you know, with that whole thing right there. But it's coming along, and we have a great cast, you know, which also includes Steve Ludwig, who was on the show with me last time when I was on your show, as well as Scream Queen Debbie D, Tara Erickson, Victoria Savage, Deanna Day, Bettina Sky, who's also in Trevor as well. So we've got a really big, wonderful cast. And the wonderful thing is we're from all over. You know, we're all over, for everywhere. And Delmar is our Kevin Feige. If this was Marvel, he would be the Kevin Feige in terms of he knows where everything is going. And we're just along for the ride in that sense. But VDM.com, season 1 is on there. Check it out.
Yeah, I do recommend, if you are listening to this podcast, to check it out.
I play a fat guy with purple hair.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, it is kind of a trip to see like no hair there. You know, you definitely have different hair than you do in N Titus. But so let's talk a little bit right now about Trevor. In fact, do you want me to play a clip first, and then you can explain all about it, or do you want to talk about it first and then play a clip? Okay, so let me do what I'm always so afraid to do is some high-tech stuff here and sharing the screen while the recording's going, but I think we'll be fine. Here we go. I think here's the screen for everyone, and here's the trailer, so I'm going to play it.
In a shot of development. I stop it. Jake Farden's everything you need to know. Hands up.
For dinner. I got.
Well, that was pretty darn scary, if you ask me.
Hey,
Did I turn off the sharing yet, or?
We're back.
We're back.
Okay, good. Good. I'm never quite sure if I have that. Let me turn off the stop sharing. There we are. Okay, there we go. So yeah, that was. I mean, talk about saying a lot without saying a lot. You know, it's so visual. That's such a striking visual clip. You want to explain a little bit about what we were watching there?
Well, it's hard to explain that portion of it, but I can tell you what it's about. So Trevor is a nice, laid-back, standoffish guy who's just trying to live the simple life and help his sister out. He wrote, directed, and produced a movie called Wirtz, and he also acted in it, and he produced the main the costume, like the clown costume. And somebody's going around wearing the costume and Trevor killing people, and Trevor's the main target.
And you look like you were pretty bruised up there in one scene. So.
Yeah, people didn't like me too much.
And
I tripped. I fell down the stairs.
Wow. Okay. So did that take a lot of makeup to get that all like looking?
Yeah. Very talented makeup person.
Where did you find is that part of your crew, Solomon? The makeup?
No, that was from my sister-in-law, actually.
Really? Okay. Yeah. That's great.
Just happened to know somebody.
And so how long did that film take for you to make?
Oof. Several days, a day or two, a month for a while. I had to go off of people's schedules. You know, it was kind of tough, especially because of COVID. So that pushed things back quite a bit.
Oh, so the movie goes all the way back to 2020 or 2021? When did?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't realize, like, you know, movies take, 4 or 5. I mean, I know that Evan Ginsberg, who also co-hosts the show, has done a couple of films like 350 Days and The Wrestler, and they took like 5 and 7 years to make.
wow.
So yeah, I know that it's, and even though they only had a budget of $6 million, that's still like probably higher than what you were given to do.
Yeah. It was like maybe at most $2,000 I paid out of pocket.
Wow.
I happened to get connected very well from people I knew.
Yeah, no, it looks very professional for only.
It was filmed on Sony 4K, and my editor has top-notch equipment.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you use to record it with? What device did you?
It was a Sony 4K camera.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
as far as I know.
so like Solomon, were you involved in the writing of this, or what was your involvement?
I was one of the producers on it, where basically for the whole, I've been with this whole project from so many years.
Over 21.
Because especially his film, he wrote Wirtz, the actual origin story, a couple of years ago, and it did very well in the screenplay competitions. And I kept telling him over the years, why don't you make it as a short film? Make the feature as a short film of the feature. And Dave always, kind of brushed that off. He didn't really want to do a feature, a short of Wirtz. But a couple of years before, I'm guessing around maybe it was 2018, 2019, Dave, I remember he was like, no, I want to do a short, but it's not going to be of Wirtz, the origin story, but rather it takes place after the origin story, which is basically the short, and this is a unique thing about it, is a sequel to a film an origin film that nobody has seen yet. But
it wasn't filmed. It's a script.
To get people excited that they want to see the origin story, or want to see even the further adventures, what comes next. And I thought that was very unique to, do a short film, but it's a sequel, which basically in this film, basically you see Trevor in action. You don't have, it's no origin story in that sense where you have to wait, but it's like we put everybody right in there. And
he's being modest again. He gave me an idea for the one that we filmed, and I ran with it. But he gave me the idea to spark everything.
And how are you able to build off of that, David? What would explain the creative process? 'Cause to me, this is the most fascinating part about the show. What I always love doing, especially with wrestlers, is getting into what their thought process was and their creative process to get to the finished product. So I'm fascinated to hear how you came to that.
So his idea, I can't say what it is, but I decided to take it a step further because I'm trying to go against the grain and go against expectations. And his idea fueled me thinking into something that's never been done before. So a large portion of the final scene of Trevor, the short film that you just showed the trailer for, has never been done before in movie history, as far as I know.
Wow.
So then I had to think backwards in a way to how we got to that point. I know that's not the greatest answer as far as an explanation, but I don't want to spoil anything. And then but it was kind of funny because I had to rewrite Wirtz, the feature, a lot. And one of the things I had to make sure that I included was why people were, so fascinated with this clown character, because it's based on the script that the feature that I wrote. So it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It doesn't just come out of this short film.
Now, of course, being a little devil's advocate side, right? I am an attorney. People may turn around and say, well, there's It, and there's Jigsaw, and there's Sweet Tooth, and there's Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and 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 the Joker, the movie that just came out, that was a huge bomb. And so are we clowned out, so to speak?
Not really. No.
And
No.
we're clowned out as far as the way they've been doing it, but believe it or not, Trevor's a good guy.
Okay.
And he's not Trevor the clown. I don't want to give much of the story away, but he has to do what he doesn't want to do.
See, because that might be the one danger you might fall into, is people are thinking, oh, well, we've seen the crazy psycho clown thing so often. It's such a it's been done so often that you might just fall into that, and especially with the Joker Part 2 being just a complete disaster on wheels. Yes.
One thing, Russell, you have to remember that the #1 movie last week was Terrifier 3, which was on a lower budget and knocked the Joker's ass off, and that's even more gorier and disgusting, in that sense, and that's a clown right there. This
Clown beat a clown.
This weekend,
Clown on clown violence.
this weekend, the #1 movie is that Smile, that horror movie, no, Smile 2. That's already that thing's going off. I mean, but that's the one thing I've always known with horror films. Years ago, I met a distributor at a film festival who said the one genre he will always take is horror, because horror sells even if it's crap. It sells. People watch it. Even if it's crap,
there's a chance.
it sells.
Yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving, the movie Thanksgiving last year proves that, 'cause it's awful. And then they always have, around Christmas, some like Santa Goes Psycho, Silent Night, Deadly Night, or Red Christmas, or, they always do try to package some sort of
I never heard of Red Christmas.
What?
I never heard of Red Christmas.
Yeah, I think that was out there a couple of years ago, where, again, somebody dresses up as Santa and carries around an axe and does unspeakable things with it. It's
just like Goldberg.
Yeah, well, exactly. Or it's just, Friday the 13th, but you just, put a Santa hat on Jason, and you're just you're
Scary this year was Santa.
Friday the 25th.
The Rock, the red one.
Yeah, there's the red one is coming up, so it's just, I don't know what to think of that movie. That's gonna
Yeah, my story is nothing like that. It's Worth is actually a murder mystery.
Well, and with the $2,000 budget, I'm not expecting CGI. That's gonna, and I'm not. But in some ways, that might make your job a little easier, in the sense that you're not expecting special effects to carry your movie. You're expecting your story to.
Yeah.
And your story doesn't cost you anything, right?
Just a headache.
And back in the day, liquid paper. But now that you got the computer, disk space is easy. So, can you tell me, though, the creative, and both of you, like the creative process to go from the beginning of an idea to an actually finished movie, and what steps you had to take to make sure that happened? Because there's so many things along the way that'll knock you off that path. And how are you able to persevere to get it done? So let's start with Solomon.
Yeah, please.
The first thing I recommend is always write down and have an outline. Have the outline written down, and from the outline to develop the script, the scenes, because especially with the outline, I would mark off, okay, where are we going? A, B, C, D. We have to
No
go.
offense, Solomon. Let me go back further than the outline. How did you get to even say to yourself, this was something that is movie worthy? That's maybe where I really want to.
When I would go with Dave to many conventions, and Dave would be dressed up as Trevor. And oh my God, did he have a hell of a line of people come to him wanting pictures, wanting to even have him autograph their body parts even, but celebrities came over to him.
And they didn't even know who he was, right?
Didn't. And they were like, what movie is this from? And it's even funny is it intimidated some people. Like, I never forget.
I was forced into it.
You want to tell them the Linda Blair story? Go ahead. Tell them about Linda Blair, Dave.
Well, so All right. Well, I can start there. Yeah, so we're at a convention, and Solomon wanted to meet Bronson Pinchot, who was at the table next to her. And I'm like, okay, I'm standing there minding my own business. I looked at her, I'm just dazed. I'm just like, whatever. And then Bronson Pinchot calls me over for a photo, and it was really cool. He goes, "Oh, I'm going to send this to whoever. This is what the conventions are all about." It was really nice meeting him. And Solomon says to me, "Oh, Dave, Linda Blair is afraid of you. She like walked away when you went over there." I was like, "What?" I was like, "No, maybe she just went to the bathroom or something. Whatever." At the end of the convention, Solomon had to go to the bathroom, and I'm standing there minding my own business next to Linda Blair. And it was me and one other guy fighting, and she goes, "I'm only signing one more autograph." She signed for the other guy and ran away.
Now, you were wearing the Trevor outfit?
Oh, yeah, right. I should probably add that. Yeah, I was wearing the Trevor outfit, yeah.
That's going to be a little bit tough to wear that for an entire convention.
Oh, I used to wear it for 8 hours a day when I worked at a Halloween store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a dedication.
Is that where the Trevor costume came from? Was from Halloween store or?
No. So what happened was I was invited to a Halloween party, and I had no idea what to wear. But anyway, so I was watching the special features for Freddy vs. Jason, and I found out that they make Freddy's mask out of foam latex. So I was like, all right, well, what are people most afraid of? They're afraid of clowns and they're afraid of dolls. So I went online, I found a clown mask, went into my room that used to be my brother's room. He moved out shortly before. And I just happened to find everything there. This is my party shirt. There was a blue trench coat, my military boots, pajama pants that matched everything else. And then I had like UFC gloves. My brother left behind 2 dolls. One was a Bozo the Clown, and the other one was like a bat baby you would see in the Acquirer. So I just, let me just attach them to a heavy chain, like one at each end, and put the chain around my neck, and everything just came together. And then I got a wig and interwove it into the wig that was already attached to the clown mask, and I had my mom stitch it up, and I markered it up just to change the look, and yeah, people were terrified. And at first, actually, he used to my clown character, me, I used to eat human, like a hand, a prop. I had a brain prop, because what I did was I went to a public party by myself. Nobody knew who I was, and that freaked everybody out even more. So I had meal and red Gatorade in the brain, and just ate out of the brain. I cut some rat props' throats, put a blood capsule in there, bit their heads off, and nice. I drank fake blood out of a real IV bag.
And let me just get this: Trevor's the good guy, right?
Well, he became a good guy.
Okay.
I'd like to answer into that point. I consider him more of like Frankenstein's monster meets Hannibal Lecter, where he's an anti-hero. He can do villainous things only if he's forced to. But it's not like, is he a villain? I leave that up to the audience. But I consider him more an anti-hero in the vein of Frankenstein's monster and Hannibal Lecter.
So when you saw this character, Solomon, what made you say, I got to make a movie around this?
That's a good question.
Because everybody around me, at any of these conventions, they kept saying that what movies, you got to do a movie. You got to do a movie. People loved it. Even what's even crazier is the celebrities, they wanted to get in on it, whether there was a script or not a script.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
What I think is even crazy is old women who were into it. And people were this one guy was taking a picture of me while I was eating. I raised money for charity because, like I said, I worked at a Halloween store, and people were. This was in a mall, so people were crowded around upstairs and downstairs watching me. And they were taking pictures, and my boss said, listen, if anybody else is going to take a picture of you, they have to donate to charity, because the store was doing a charity for children. So I raised money that way.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
so let's continue with the process. So people are telling you make a movie, but like, my response back to them would be like, you make a movie, because I mean,
One thing
I know you have a background in it, Solomon, but you also producing
one thing
something.
I wanted to show on the program to show the effect. I actually have a couple of photos from the conventions. I don't know if you guys can see.
Yeah, as long as you hold it like over your chest, you're all right.
Right.
If you go up, over your chroma key knocks it out.
Over my face? Here's over my.
No, when you hold it up on your face, then the chroma key knocks it out. But if you hold it right there, it's perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
So this is here with us meeting Tony Todd, Candyman, and this is at Monster Mania. And he's been he's definitely been one that always, every time he sees us, he's like, let us know, like keep his team updated. If you've got the money with the script, we'll be there. He's very interested, and this is the first time he actually saw Dave as Trevor, and he's dressed in his Candyman costume, and he was supposed to put his hand on my throat, but he was so freaked out because of Trevor, he forgot to put his hand on my throat. So I have that silly look like, he's like, where's your hand? You forgot your hand. That shows you.
And he also,
freaked out. But he every time we see him at a convention, he's like, what's the progress, guys? He's been.
He requested a copy of the photo too.
That's wonderful.
And this
one was cool.
Is Princess Leia herself, Carrie Fisher, where we met her also at Mania many years ago. She loved Trevor. She was such a darling. Even her dog liked Trevor. He was in the room too, and gave him his approval. She kept saying the Force is strong with him, indeed, and the Schwartz too. If you go by Spaceballs,
absolutely.
And who doesn't?
Another big one, Mr. Doc Brown himself, Christopher Lloyd.
Wow.
Who also loved Trevor. He really liked beating Trevor and was like blown away by it. And one last.
You want to tell the Shawnee Smith story?
Oh, absolutely. And one quick, the last one. This one is a cool one here. I don't know if you can see it clearly. It's good. Me, Dave as Trevor, and April Hunter, where she's kind of.
You always get to hang out with the hottest ladies, though. I'm not surprised.
She's a wrestler, April Hunter.
I know. But you always get to hang out with the hottest ones.
We have a Trevor Hooter story too, believe it or not.
Okay, well, we've got time, so go ahead and regale us.
We were at a convention, and we went. It was at night. Dave just finished the costume contest portion, so we went right into Hooters. This is at the Tropicana in Atlantic City years ago. So the cast of Friday the 13th.
The only Tropicana now.
Well, the only exactly in Atlantic City. Well, one good thing is Hooters. That's always there because it's always open, and especially any time of day.
And, you made it sound like a strip club.
And basically, the cast of Friday the 13th was there, and everybody was going over to them. The waitresses, everybody, they were all kissing up to them. Finally, we come in. Everybody turns to us. All the waitresses. Everybody's coming over to Dave for pictures. And the Friday the 13th cast is looking at us like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah.
In the darkness.
Soul that thunder.
Yeah, we almost had like Jason against Trevor right there. Go at it.
I was actually going to ask that as a question. I was going to say, if you really make it big time, don't you think we should have either Trevor meets Jason, Trevor meets Freddy, Trevor meets the Wolfman,
as long as it's a comedy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They go looking for women together.
The old Abbott and Costello stuff, You got to do a meet. You can't beat Versus. Versus would be serious. But if you do Trevor meets the Wolfman, you could do some real campy stuff.
he has a picture
Trevor meets Annabelle like Harry met Sally.
Trevor with a cosplayer as Jason at a convention, and it looked amazing to see them side by side, where to see somebody dressed as Jason in his costume next to Dave as Trevor, and it looked like, oh man, I want to see that matchup.
Wow. So after this, and you've seen the interest in it, then did you like lock yourself in a room and start writing, the outline and all that, or did you like write an outline? Did you just like do one sentence at a time, and what was the next part of the process?
For Wirtz, the feature, that is what I did, and it was funny because I was also writing a feature comedy at the same time. So one day I would write the comedy, the other day I would write the horror to give myself a break from the genre. So I just kept going day after day. It took me 80 hours to write the two of them.
And I bet you at some point in time, you probably forgot whether you were writing the comedy or the horror. They would just sort of mesh in with each other. Because I think there's a lot of comedy elements that can be horrible, and there's a lot of horror stuff that can be horrible.
Yeah.
So then after that, did Solling, you look at what David written, or did you write stuff and then submit it to David and say, what do you think of this? How did that process work?
I didn't write anything. I just gave him notes in terms of, okay, what was good, what wasn't good, maybe changed. Where, I threw suggestions to him, and he basically decided, okay, I like this, I don't like this. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I should try this. So he built onto it. So that's basically, I was giving him a lot of feedback in terms of where to take the script, where to take the story for both Wirtz and for when he did Trevor. But I'll never forget when he said to me, I'll do a short, because I kept saying to him, do a short, because that might be more manageable, more money-wise to make, to get it out there to the film festivals so that people can see. Because everybody always asks Dave, is he supposed to be like the Joker? Is he supposed to be like Killer Clowns from Outer Space? Is he supposed to be like Pennywise? They want to know, is he supposed to be supernatural? All that stuff. So we're answering a lot of those questions in this short film right there, which the way that it was designed will get people excited to want to see further adventures, but at the same time also, how did he, the origin right there. So it works on both levels right there, which to me, I think is exciting. The only thing that wasn't exciting that took a long time was COVID happened. And that put a hell of a bump, because we were supposed to start around like May of 2020. And that took a big bump.
Yes.
And
as I did in April of 2020, when I tripped over my kid's scooter and broke my left shoulder. So there's something you can look forward to as a parent.
Oh.
So yeah, and I broke it right at the beginning of the lockdown. So yes, a lot of crazy stuff did happen in
At least you had time to heal.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. In fact, I got treated by the hospital immediately because nobody had an antivirus thing at the time. There were no there's no COVID vaccines. So I went into an emergency room all by myself. Nobody was there, and I was seen, X-rayed, treated, and kicked back out on the pavement in 45 minutes for a broken shoulder. Because they were like, get out of here. They're like, we don't know if you have COVID or not, because there was no testing. So they were like, and they were expecting like a huge like influx during the lockdown of like all these COVID zombies. And they were, so like they're like, get out, sit on the curb, wait for somebody to pick you up. We don't want you waiting in the hospital. So yeah, it was a weird time. I'll give you that.
Did they have you hold your breath for the whole 45 minutes?
Yeah. No, there were like 20 people around me because they had nothing to do. They're all waiting for this huge influx of plague victims to come. And like nobody was there.
Shoulder injury.
Yeah, so they were like, this is the only guy we can focus on. Just let's get him, treat him, get him the hell out of here so we don't all wind up with the, bubonic plague and the AIDS and everything else that they were thinking that COVID was at the time. But anyway, back to your situation when you had to deal with COVID. So really you couldn't do anything from 2020 and then 2021. So when did you start redoing it? It was like 2022, or you just put it in the can, or did you work on it a little bit each, year until it finally we were able to shoot the entire thing?
But one thing that we did during that time when we couldn't film, which was kind of unique at the time because it started when the Zoom craze came out. We actually did, to keep the momentum going, we did a 3-minute Zoom short with Trevor to get the audience, to let people know we're still making this thing.
Like an interview or something?
Yeah, where basically I interviewed, it was called Cut to the Chase. And I was the interviewer that was interviewing Trevor. And let's just say it did not go well. Meaning, let's just say like Late Night for the Devil in that sense, if you've seen that movie, meaning it doesn't go well for, if you interview somebody like that. But it was just fun to do because we never did a Zoom movie before. And that was the latest at that time period. Zoom was coming like out where people like, let's do that. And it was for us, it was like, let's just get something out there to let people know, hey, even though we're delayed at the moment, we're moving along. We're trying to find out ways, like Dave even did a photo montage of from all the celebrities that he met as Trevor.
And a photo shoot too.
Exactly.
Wow.
Shoot as well.
You don't need anybody else there, but the photographer, and they could be 6 feet away.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
so then you start. So when did you actually start filming it? When was or taping it or recording it? Film is such an antiquated, concept. But when did you start, making the actual movie after all this?
As soon as, it was actually before COVID ended, I got to be honest, because we were about to lose our location. So we had very few people at the apartment where my wife and I first lived. Unfortunately, we didn't get to use that because for other reasons. But I mean, we got great footage. But yeah, because I was like, I got to start somehow. I can't just let it drag because there's some parts where I think it was just it was just me. So I was like, why can't we film that and stay within regulations? So we did do that. But we really jump-started as soon as COVID ended because I was so tired of waiting.
Yeah, and then what about the actors that you had as part of it? Were they, a little worried about, the COVID regulations and all that stuff, or were they like, hey, we want to get it done?
No, it was completely. It was when I think it was. We didn't wear a mask or anything. It was an option, but it was when we were in the clear. So, it wasn't quite when COVID was ended. When COVID was dying down, it was pretty much just died down. I mean, I know people say it's still going on, but you know what I'm saying? It's more like the flu.
Yeah, no, I get it. So then, Solomon, after that, after you'd gotten it filmed, then to get it finished and into the level of where you can show it at an indie festival, what is that process all about, and how are you involved in that?
That is with the editor, who really did a very good job. Dave, what's his name? A wonderful editor.
John Reuter.
I'll never forget when he showed the first cut of it.
And he did the score also.
He did the score as well. He did an amazing job, because I remember seeing the rough cuts at his place with him and Dave, and they showed it to me, and I was like, holy crap. This is really like the hard work, even though it took a long time because of the delays due to COVID, it actually looked amazing from what I saw, and I gave my feedback as to, okay, what could you add here, do something over here, maybe you don't need this. So I was giving my feedback, and then I would see the other cuts that were coming, but it's like as soon as I saw that first cut of it, I knew we were almost there to lock it down, and it happened very shortly. And then basically we're off to the film festival rounds, which is what we're doing in that sense. So it's like, okay, we got it done. We, had a great editor as well as a great cast crew. It was beautifully shot. You know, our DP did a great job shooting it. Some of the visuals, not to mention, one thing we keep forgetting with this movie, Trevor, was directed by both Dave and his brother Brian. So it's the two of them. And how do I describe them together, their working style? Dave is the actor director. He literally works really with the actors, giving them the motivations. While his brother Brian, I could tell you a lot that I saw this from, and when we worked together on Clive Unger's Madam X, that horror film, is the visual director, where he's very interested in the visuals, like especially with a lot of the fight scenes and stuff. He definitely wants to make it look good. So he's more the visual director, while Dave is the actor director. And basically, we've got a great cast. And right now, we're going to be making our film festival rounds.
Yeah. Now, so David, you were able to work effectively with your brother on something like this? Because I know I love my brother so much, but I guarantee you we could never direct a film together. We can work together on a lot of things. I don't think we could ever do a film together. And so it didn't ever you never got to the point where you just wanted to just, like, you know, strangle him, or you were in real, like, you'll take the fifth on that? That's when you're...
We worked well together. Yes, so he filmed the final scene, and he was coming up to me and saying, "Is this what you like? Is this, you know, what you want?" It was very commutative, and even when my thing was I said to him, I said, "Brian, do your thing," and he still came up to me and asked if this is what I liked. So it was great. It was that day was really smooth.
Do you feel like you could be more honest working with your brother, or do you think that, like, you were maybe afraid to say anything that would maybe upset him and hurt your relationship?
No, it was perfectly fine. And it was funny because we were filming the final scene, and there was a bunch of people with opinions on what we just filmed. I mean, it was my wife, my brother, the cameraman, and one of the actors. And I said, "Hold on, one at a time." They waited in line to talk to me one by one. And I took their feedback, and I changed the end of the movie as we were filming.
Wow.
That's one of the things I'm most proud about.
Wow. There's very few directors that do that. I mean, you know, that are, so many of them just mandate exactly what they think needs to be done to the actors. They won't let anyone have input. And I'm amazed to hear that you're capable of that. That might be one of your great strengths.
Thank you. Yeah, and the first scene that I filmed was the actual first scene of the movie. It wasn't, you know, sometimes it's filmed out of order. I didn't use storyboard or anything. I memorized the whole thing, and we filmed it in different order. You know, the scene was filmed in different sequence.
Wow, Solomon, you were going to add something?
Say that Dave, as a director, because I know when he directed me on the set for my role in the movie, he did such a really wonderful job that I was very impressed with him. You know, of how, like I said, he's the actor director. You know, in the film, I play a news reporter covering the murders, and he told me exactly how he wanted it, how to go about it, what he wanted it to look like, to sound like. And it worked so well. Then this is one thing I'll never forget. We were shooting, it was outside, and we're near a house. And after we shoot, Dave yells, "Cut." This family comes out, and they go, "Hey, wait a second. What happened here? What's going on? Hey, what news team are you guys from? What time is this airing? Will I be on TV? Hey, guys." And I couldn't stop laughing, because then it showed how realistically.
Sure, yeah, they really thought you were the real deal. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Solomon nailed his lines on the first try, and I said, "That's it. That's perfect. We're good." And he goes, "You don't want me to do it again?" I felt bad because he's an actor who wants to perform, and I'm sure, and I know he wanted to keep going, but you got it. That's it. And sure enough, no regrets with it.
One take. That's it.
That's trust my director there. So he knew, he saw. Perfect. Even the family agreed. That one that was watching had no idea, or they thought it was real. So
don't mess with perfection. That, you know, you don't want to mess with perfection. So so where do you want this movie to go? Where do you want it? What what would be your dream as to where this would end up and who would be watching it?
Well, I do know for sure that people from HBO have already seen it because of the film festival. And as a matter of fact, they got nominated for, I don't know, at least one award, because I got an email saying that we've been nominated, but they didn't tell me for what. So I have hopes there. And also, Lionsgate is another sponsor of this film festival, and I would love for either one of them to pick it up and expand the short into a feature, and then do the Wirtz movie as a feature, and then do the prequel to that also as a feature.
Well, that'd be great.
I have all kinds of ideas.
That's great. I mean, especially if you've been watching TV recently, what TV desperately needs and what Hollywood desperately needs is ideas. You know, if you saw Borderlands, you'll understand that new ideas and fresh concepts are in desperate need, you know, and Joker Part 2 is a good example of people, I think, hitting the wall of seeing stuff that's just been rehashed over and over again, and they want to see something that gives you something new, where you see something you're not totally expecting from the get-go.
Yeah, you can tell those Hollywood movies are like, well, the first one was successful, so we have to put something else out, as opposed to having the complete package before the first one comes out. So yeah, I agree. That's a common criticism these days.
Well, except that, you know, fortunately, there's people like you that are willing to, and Solomon, that want to, you know, break that mold and bring something forward that people haven't seen all the time, including, you know, and Titus. You know, it's just not something that is just generic, out of the box, something that you know, let's do, you know, the Funky Phantom as a, you know, a 3-movie extra spectacular with Michael Bay and $1 billion budget. You know, there's just some stuff like, you know, you don't want to see something like the, you know, the Snorks as a you know, a multi-billion-dollar movie franchise. You know, it's you like to see somebody bringing something new to the table. And that's what I really appreciate about you guys. Solomon, you're about to
say that that's to add on to what he was saying, that Dave, is that this has the potential to be as big as Freddy, as Jason, Michael Myers,
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw. It has that potential. And the thing is, right now with the film festival circuit, we want to get the film out there so people can see, okay, this is interesting. I want to see more. Where are you going with this? Where was it before? You know, and that's the whole point of this thing, is to get it out there. And Saturday, November 9th, at the Regal Movie Theater on 40th Street and 8th Avenue in Times Square.
Wow.
Screening it will be premiering at the Urban Action Showcase Festival Expo there. That's run by the amazing Demetrius Angelo, who's a really cool guy. Believe it or not, 2 years ago, N. Titus, episode 6 of N. Titus, screened at this festival and won an award there 2 years ago. And that was actually the episode that Dave was on. So
yeah, and if that falls through, I do have other serious connections that can help catapult this to where I want it to be.
Great.
So, yeah.
So, you know, I cannot believe this, but we're getting towards the end of the hour. I know you have someplace you have to go, David, but can you please tell me what your plans are for the future? After you're done with Trevor and getting it out there, what do you want to do in the future?
Well, I have a manager. I'm constantly getting auditions. But I'm really hoping that Trevor becomes a success, and then I move up the list of of her clients. I do get a lot of auditions, but you know, it's always nice to have more and more and more and more, because as an actor, you don't get all the roles. So the more chances you get, the better your odds are of landing something.
Although if you make your own film, you're guaranteed to be able to star in it. So that's
exactly,
that's the thought.
Yeah. Right, but going beyond Trevor. So yeah.
Terrific. Solomon, what are your plans for the immediate future as soon as you're done getting Trevor out there and premiering it?
Just keep on going from one thing to the next thing in terms of what's out there. But I do want to say, UrbanActionShowcase.com is the website for the film festival. If people want to get tickets to buy, they soon will have the schedule up, so you can know. Right now they have a little bit of a schedule, but this is a wonderful networking opportunity for people to come down. It is a great festival. It's part even a convention even, where they have the celebrities by the table. We can take pictures and autographs. They're going to be having the anniversary cast screening of The Last Dragon. And Ty Mock is going to be there and other cast members. They're going to be having the cast commentary screening of The Warriors, the Walter Hill movie. So that's happening there. Also, The Matrix having their the original Matrix having the anniversary screening.
One we all liked.
Yeah, and that experience. That's where it's very interactive with the fans, where the seats move. They have things moving into your face, stuff like that. Where basically you're supposed to feel part of the movie. And you can imagine that with the actual Matrix, the first movie, where you have Neo fighting Agent Smith, and God knows the chairs moving back and forth. So that's going to be an amazing experience. But they also have like Blade Trinity, that's with Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds. It's going to be screening there. Jean-Claude Van Damme's Street Fighter with him and the late Raul Julia also having their anniversary screening there. But they also have great movies there. They have fan film screening, animated shorts, as well as web series episode screening, short film screening, other films as well. But they also
honestly, Solomon, I wish we had something like that going on in San Francisco.
I know you, especially with the wrestling. This is the place to be, because they also have seminars where they teach you how to shoot fight scenes on like your iPhone and other stuff like that. It is really wonderful, and they have all these different celebrities. They have what's his name, who plays Reggie from Bad Boys. Who, if you've seen the new Bad Boys movies, he's amazing in it. I met him this past summer. He's going to be there. Fred the Hammer Williamson is going to be there. I've met him several times. I just saw him this past summer in Atlantic City. He's going to be there, as well as others. There's also my favorite. There is a photo booth there where there's a green screen, and you could choose your different like stuff, like if you want a X-Men background or Batman or Matrix, you can do that. And the girl that does it, her name is Beautiful Diz, she's an actress. She does special effects. It's amazing. And if you go to the Urban Action Showcase, I recommend doing the photo booth, because it's so fun to do. You can do your own thing.
Nice.
You can do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles background. And it's such a fun thing. But this is a great way to meet people in the business, whether you're filmmakers, crew members, martial artists, wrestlers. This is a wonderful thing. And of course, we've got the premiere of Trevor happening there, and it's nominated for an award, and it's going to be a hell of a time. And so
it is great. You know how to sell it.
Say what?
Well, I like to add that, you know, like I said, I wrote a comedy. I also wrote a drama, and I'm gonna make my stuff. No matter if anybody wants to pick up Trevor or not, things are gonna get made. I'm not gonna stop because people told me no. I'm gonna keep going. So
that's fantastic.
That's something.
And if you guys ever want to shoot on location in San Francisco, you're always welcome to crash over my house. So,
thank you.
I'll take that word on there.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that. But if you do crash over here, the one promise is the other thing other than a cartoon voice I've always wanted to do is I've always wanted to be a victim in a horror movie. I've always wanted to be killed.
I can write something.
So that, you know, if you you know, feel like someone in San Francisco has to get killed.
Improv.
If you feel someone in San Francisco has to get killed, please think of me. That's
smack down on you.
That'll be the first one I think of.
Thank you, guys. Hey, why don't you throw out your social media links, and then we're gonna wrap it up for today.
My website is very simple. It's David-Decicco. So DAVID-DECICCO.com.
And Solomon?
Once again, urbanactionshowcase.com for tickets. Saturday, November 9th. NTitusVDM.com to watch the episodes of NTitus. And I'm also you can see me on IMDb, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the whole spiel. I haven't.
Any monster convention that happens anywhere on the East Coast, apparently, you can find it.
Wherever there is. And I've got next week the big Chiller convention coming up.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, I could have gone another hour with you.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic. Please, when you have another project, please come on the show because we really like having you. And this has been absolutely fascinating to me. So thank you so much for being guest tonight.
Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
You did great.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Good night. Good night.